Welcome back, my fellow duplicants, to Oxygen Not Included. This is the Megabase Challenge. In today's episode, I gotta get my house in order. So, as I've been talking about for a long time now, I really want to explore the oil biome, get into there, make some plastic, and explore all of those opportunities that come with that sort of stuff. However, one of the problems I'm having right now is the fact that I am spending too much time working on a lot of different little things right down here, so my duplicates are not efficient at all. Matter of fact, if I were to go to the reports here, we should be able to see that the reports are a little bit more detailed. So I'm going to be exploring the breakdown, time breakdown of some of this stuff here, and see if I can optimize this a little bit. And that's going to be the goal of this episode here, is to kind of get this reorganized. I mean, you can see how it's laid out. It's not laid out very well. I've kind of just been responding. I guess what happened is this whole series, I've been wanting to move from one topic to the next, but not giving myself enough time to necessarily get from one topic to the next. So I need an episode to kind of clean the house so that I can bring in more duplicates, get more work, and really build some of these larger, more technical systems that I'd like to explore. Because right now, my duplicates, I simply don't have enough labor in order to do what I want to do, and some other things are getting out of hand that I need to, get in order. For example, like this over here, this does not need to be functioning anymore at this point. I can close this off, I can get rid of all this chlorine down here on the bottom, and get people back to doing stuff that I need them to do, which is building different machines and mechanisms and all this fun stuff so that we can really explore different power systems and all that fun stuff. So let's just take a quick look at the time breakdown of at least what my duplicates were doing yesterday. You can see here that Trivaldo, what were they doing? I guess you can hover over them and see what all they were doing. Trivaldo has a lot of time in harvest, a lot of time delivering, and we'll see what kind of are the bigger ones here as I scroll through these. Deliver was another big one. It looks like deliver across the board is the biggest time sink that I have. A good amount of time is being spent on delivering. It's my biggest thing. So let me go ahead and just kind of disable some of the stuff so that I don't have to deliver anymore. There were some comments that you guys left previously of just about how much slime I had to harvest and move, and the fact is that I have to go through the exosuit dock every time I want to pick up some slime. So there might be a better way to kind of arrange this so that I can get to these guys quite a bit easier. Now maybe there's another biome that's nearby right up here, and I can harvest this so that it's less of a run and I don't have to go in and out of the exosuit every single time in order to deliver. I think that would be a real advantage. But in order to just save myself the time right now, I'm going to uproot these, get rid of the dust caps. That way I don't have to manage that amount of time. We should be able to see that in the next cycle here that delivering is going to go down quite a bit. Also looks like this pump down here was enabled for auto repair, so people kept coming down here and going through this hot water each and every time. So that was horrible. That's a big stressor that was happening right there. There we go. Knock out all these plants. This is also a high pressure area, so it would be in my best interest to kind of lower the pressure inside of here. But of course I gotta build some stuff over there in order to manage the extra carbon dioxide that's in that space. So what would really be to my advantage again would be to disable, get rid of this power source and actually start to use the one I have up here, which is going to be this natural gas generator, which is on a lifeline at the moment with the amount of carbon dioxide I have. So there's a lot of little things that need to be done here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move my carbon dioxide scrubber. It's going to move up here to the top of this system so that I can scrub all of my carbon dioxide here and turn it into polluted water and just pipe it right back in. So one of the first comments here from Lewis is, why don't you get 2 or more duplicates? And the thing is, I would like to get more duplicates into this base. And the whole thing about this base is not that I want to get a lot of duplicates. That was kind of the theme of the last challenge that I was doing. The idea here is to cover the technical side of Oxygen Not Included and build some of the crazy systems that we've done experiments on thus far. So I would like to do this with the least amount of duplicates as possible. And the other half of this is that my base right now can't support more than the duplicates I have. And it's purely because of oxygen production. Now I could farm more algae right here and kind of up that. But what I'd really like to have is more complex, or another system at least, of these hydrogen bubbler systems. And now that I have more water, I can bring in more oxygen, therefore also bringing in more duplicants. And right now that's the system I have to work with currently. However, there are other systems out there as far as using a hatch or slime or whatever. Puffed. We can use puffs. We can also use morbs to produce polluted oxygen and then purify that oxygen to increase the oxygen production. One of the other things that we're talking about is taking a plant like mealwood and then having that mealwood rot and give off polluted oxygen and then clean that oxygen as well. That might be potentially another opportunity. Now, I still have not, for whatever reason, locked this door. This is another thing I want to do because I don't want to enable all this harvesting down here. Let's go ahead and just lock that door. Hopefully not while you're in it. There we go. Luckily, you made it out, Meep. Okay, so that will reduce the amount of time here and also reduce the amount of chlorine that's finding its way out. There is a way that we saw previously as far as to make an airlock that doesn't let the gas back through. Now, we can do this with water. We don't have to do it with the melted down plastic, whatever that's called. I think it's called naphtha. That's right. Naphtha is essentially like plastic ladders and stuff that's melted down and then kind of becomes a liquid that in the current state of the game actually will build vertically and not actually flow out to the side, which is totally weird, but that's the way it's working. So you can use that to create airlocks, and that's pretty interesting. You see now that my duplicants are doing a lot of sweeping. So if I take a look at the reports here, which again is more, I guess, more descriptive at least than what we had previously. If we look at yesterday, which was the day, they're sleeping now. So if we look at the previous day, day 277, I should be able to see that the deliver is quite a bit lower than it was beforehand, although it still seems quite high. I don't know if that's as easy to read as I would like it to be. I guess you can take a look at the total time spent traveling. I'm trying to understand how these new daily reports, which is part of the latest update here, is going to be beneficial to us. 1,148 seconds traveling, and then 2,300 seconds actually doing work. So I guess you can take a look at the total of this and the total of that to see if you're actually getting more work done. I don't know. See, a lot of the time here is going to be spent, at this point, they're doing the lowest priority task I have, which is going to be sweeping. Which isn't a bad thing. Actually, we need to sweep a lot, so that's good. Let's go ahead and sweep this stuff up. But what I want to do is I want to scrub now. So I'm going to go ahead and make an air scrubber up here. Sorry, I guess it's called a carbon skimmer now. I keep getting that mixed up. And that carbon skimmer is going to want to drop liquid, so I think that's as good a spot as any. This door probably doesn't need to be all that big, but I guess I'll just put it right here, and we'll just roll with that. Now if I take a look at the power system here, there is enough power left in this wire here that I can actually go ahead and, maybe not. I'm gonna have to run this other natural gas generator in order to power up this air scrubber. Many of you guys are having the same reaction to the neural vacillator right there, which was hilarious when I actually went back and looked at it, because there was an obvious button that if you clicked back on this device, you could see the button showed up right there. But I didn't do that. I wanted to see if there was going to be a reaction. I don't know, some sort of special glow or something. So I didn't click anything, and it left poor Meep on there forever. So I think I'm going to rename him, since he's been well electrocuted. He'll be Franken-Meep. I think that's a good nickname for him now, so that we never forget the misjustice that was done to his poor duplicant brain. Where is he? Where'd you run off to, Meep? Alright, we're gonna call him Franken-Meep right there. So there we have it. You are now Franken-Meep. Quest had an interesting comment over here as far as a method for cooling down the steam geyser, or shall we say the puddle that the steam geyser makes, I should say, or lake, depending on how big it is. And using a couple Wheeze worts and then hydrogen. Now this is a very I've seen a couple methods for this. We also saw the ones with the wheeze warts that kind of went around that liquid in the center. And so I think there's some interesting things that we can do using wheeze warts, hydrogen, and then that liquid method to really provide a cooling method for that water and all that stuff that's involved in that. What's interesting here is the fact that he's using statues on top of the steam geyser. I'm not sure what that's all about. That's kind of, I don't know if he's trying to core up that steam geyser or what. I have actually tried to run self-cooling thermoregulators, like 10 kilowatts worth of them, just to cool down the steam geyser that was running 100% like constantly, and that thing produces a huge amount of heat. But the thing is, once it gets up to a certain point, it won't fill past itself, so that's kind of the trick right there. I think one of the other things you could do with that is you could put the algae terrariums like on top of this, and then it just sucks up the excess water that isn't being pumped out every day and produces more oxygen. I've never done that, but that's always been something I wanted to explore. Oh crap, I need more iron ore. I've run out of iron ore. Now there isn't an overlay though. There's some iron down there. You just gotta look for it. Good old-fashioned style. There you go, dig her up. See, this is made of iron ore right now, and its temperature, maximum temperature, is 74.5 degrees Celsius. So I'm gonna change that to gold amalgam. Let's see if I made this one out of the right stuff. Wolframite, no, that's not right. It seems like I've done a pretty good job of cooling down this area over here, so I'm going to disable this gas pump for a little while. Kind of let things cool off. I think I might end up reusing some of this power from this natural gas generator and just kind of move on. Or just see how this system works, using just the wheeze wart in here to kind of cool things down. James has got a pretty good comment here about having a duplicate HR manager. Makes me wonder if you could have managing duplicates. Like, what would that look like? To actually have duplicates that are, you know, the boss, they tell people what to do and stuff like that. I mean, obviously that's kind of our job as people who play the game, but I don't know. I wonder how that would work. Emily looks like she's done some work on the aqua tuner right here as far as, you know, some math. This is always kind of hard to understand when there's a big comment about all the technical stuff. To summarize it up, it says that this can easily absorb all the excess heat in your base and transfer it to water, so long as you have enough water around. So using aqua tuner is definitely, I mean, it's a huge chunk of equipment as far as being able to cool down liquid, and liquid has such a higher capacity of heat than, you know, a gas does. So that makes sense, especially if we're using oil. So an oil cooler, I think, is one of the absolute best things that we can design here inside the game. So I really want to get to the point where we can explore that. Speaking of the neural vacillator, there seems like there's another one up over here. So maybe I could fry another duplicant's brains today. But nope, I need to stay focused, get my base in order. That's what this is about. Okay, so the nice thing about having this carbon skimmer right here is that I can take the discharge and go directly to the pinch of pepper plants right here. So I can get rid of that polluted water for now easily, and I don't have to worry about it. Eventually I'll probably run that to a fertilizer maker and then actually make something more useful out of it. But don't get me wrong, pinch of pepper plants are a good way to go, but right now they're absorbing a lot of that polluted water, so I don't have to deal with it. So I can just do that number right there. Boom. The trick though is I have to get clean water all the way up there somehow. Oh, the sun! It's come out! For the first time in a week! Gotta love Northwest Ohio, man. It really is the first time I've seen it in a week. Although I think it's just peeking out behind some clouds. And there it's gone again. Goodbye! That's the last I'll see of it for a week. I've added a second wheeze wart up here, kind of in this area where it's real hot. And we'll see if that, you know, works to kind of create some cool and then let that cool drip down. Right now the temperature inside of here is really not bad. You know, temperate to warm is good. Okay, so if I wanted to just consume the amount of polluted water I'm generating with these natural gas generators, I can do the math. So if you look on this, I can see that the amount of polluted water is 67.5 grams a second is what's being produced. On the other hand, there's also carbon dioxide, so I'll have to do that calculation as well. Okay, so 67.5, right? And then times that by 600 seconds in a cycle. That gives me 40.5 kilograms a day. So that's 81 kilograms in a single day that is coming directly out of that natural gas generator. Okay, so on the flip side of this, a carbon skimmer will convert water into polluted water at a 1-to-1 ratio. So you can see right there, 1,000 to 1,000. So I know that each of these natural gas generators, well, I guess I got to figure out the ratio. Carbon dioxide is 300 per 1 kilogram, giving me a grand total of 411. 411 divided by 35 kilograms for each pinch of pepper plant means that I need 11 plants. So right now, what's happening is I should be producing too much polluted water. Yes, and that's exactly what's happening. I need more pinch of pepper plants if this is going to be my plan. Or I gotta pump away a lot of polluted water and find another spot to do something with. Or, the other answer that I need, I guess at this point I'm gonna have to jump to it quicker than I thought I was going to need to do, is use a fertilizer maker. Sorry, my brain's like not clicking as fast today. It's the weekend. Or fertilizer synthesizer. And these work really good when they're in the same spot as the natural gas, because they give off natural gas, which is then consumed by these guys as well. Okay, so what I want to have is a couple of those okay, so what I'm attempting to say here is I need some fertilizer synthesizers, and they need to be built in right over here. As far as the power that is being run out of this entire system, I'm actually going to bridge it down over here, and that'll just disable this coal generator for a little while. Hopefully I don't overdraw what I can do on this thing. I'm going to mine out this entire area so that I can just get rid of a lot of it. Right now there isn't a lot of use for all this stuff, so I'm just going to dig it up. You know, another task I can get rid of here is all the maintenance for the outhouse. I've been preparing this for a while, or preparing to get rid of it for a while, and actually switch those over to lavatories so that I can, you know, don't have to do this number all the time. So here's what I'm going to do. This will just be public, and this will be public, and I'm going to replace these one at a time. Just like so, like it's already ready to go. Build all kinds of ladders, mine this up. Bam. I guess, you know what a good idea for a switch would be? Is if there was a switch that was connected to like a battery level that you could set up so that you can have a device turn on or off based on how, you know, how full or unfull that battery is. So that way I could turn this gas pump on or off so that these natural gas generators don't function, you know, all the time. Because right now, natural gas is just flowing into them, so therefore they're running, even though they don't need to be running. So I don't know. I don't think it has to be the way it currently is, but it's the way it is. So I'm also going to finish off the research here, some of the things I haven't done yet, like the little comfy bed and whatnot, just so I can get rid of that as well. So I can basically rebuild this entire bottom side of my base. Now, even though I have 2 Wheezeworts, it doesn't look like they're doing quite enough to keep everything cool. So having this gas pump doing its thing seemed like it was actually a pretty good idea as far as just being able to cool the base down. Of course, right now I'm using some of that power, I think. See, now my power system got all spread out. Yeah, it's running this guy over here, this little space heater. Just working on rerunning the wires here. More or less this generator over here is going to power the base, while this generator continues to just do its cooling thing. It was trying to run a little bit too much and started blowing up the wires. As you can imagine, this system here takes quite a bit of power. I just opened up this area down here. Let's see what happens. There's a massive amount of oxygen and everything in this area, not to mention carbon dioxide. That's all going to be uncoiling out of that spot. Okay, so as far as the power is concerned, I think everything is up and running now. We're all good. So power, for the time being, you know, doesn't need to be touched. Alright, so I'm also switching these vents on over here to just normal gas vents, getting away from that high pressure thing that you guys were talking about. hopefully reduce ear popping a little bit, even though I know every time we go into this space, we're getting ear popping. So I'll have to reorganize that as well. 1,000. Oh my gosh. Oh, everybody's burning up. What's going on in here? Oh no, Travaldo! Unequip the clothing! Oh no! Somebody help him! Alright, we gotta try to save Travaldo. Somebody save Travaldo. Anybody. Anybody who's going to be around here. Quick! Quick! Oh no! Travaldo died. That's not good. Oh, he was incapacitated and then suffocated. That's what happened. I was wondering, okay, well, rest in peace, Travaldo. We had our first death. Crap. By the way, we're going to have to deconstruct that pump. It was getting damaged. Everything in here. It's not made of the right stuff. Well, that's kind of sad. Travaldo died. Luckily, though, we have a tasteful memorial. We can make this out of nice granite, and we'll put it above the toilet. So, there we go. Yeah, this is just like too hot in here. Too hot. I wonder if the cold vest played into the fact that he got too hot. I wonder if that had something to do with it. I mean, that would make sense, right? He's more insulated than anybody else, but I've never really looked into that. Bubbles is also quite injured. Things must have got really hot in here. I wasn't looking, so... Okay, so one thing I noticed is that having these pinch of pepper plants inside of this area here, right, probably is not a very good idea because you have to run inside of here in order to fertilize it with phosphorite. And that means exposing yourself to two things, high pressure and high temperature, which means you'd have to use an exosuit to get in here every time. I mean, it's great as far as being able to get the air pressure that you need and the temperature that you need, but I think there's some serious drawbacks as we learned with Travaldo there, so I think I might avoid that in the future. Seemed like a good idea at the time, but now that I've looked at this for a little while, I don't think it's such a great idea anymore. Hey, we also have another duplicate ready to go. Let's see, who can we get? Look at how much Marie can do here. Let's go ahead and bring her in. Ta-da! Oh, they're still trying to fertilize it from up here. Okay, so there's multiple ways that they're able to fertilize this thing. But that's actually a good point. Okay, so you can fertilize this from on top. So maybe this is actually still a pretty good idea, so long as you can get to it from on top. However, unfortunately, carbon dioxide up here is incredibly high pressure, so I have that same problem with ear popping once again. So I should probably just move that. I tried to fix it down here, ended up with another problem right there. All right, I've completed all of the research. That's nice. I can get rid of all of that. Okay, so I need a temporary solution. I'm going to pump a lot of this liquid water, and it'll be right up here. So I can get rid of that. And then once I get the fertilizer makers, which, you know, at some point will happen here, I'll be able to kind of actually do a better job of managing just how much polluted water I need to convert. Okay, so for the last thing I'm going to do tonight, I'm going to put this carbon skimmer down here on the bottom. That will go a long ways to get rid of a lot of this carbon dioxide in this space. And then I can start to deal with the chlorine once I kind of get rid of a lot of this. Because right now, I mean, this is starting to build up, and it's building up to the point where a lot of my duplicates are not able to get oxygen, or I'm not able to actually have enough oxygen in that space. Now, I have a lot of my food storage over here, which is okay, except for the fact that it has ear popping, which I can take care of, you know, with this system over here. Put an exosuit and all that fun stuff there, but at this point, I really just want to get rid of some of this carbon dioxide so I could just build in a lot more oxygen. As far as the ventilation to fill these exosuits, I'm going to bring it off the cooling system, since that seems to be, you know, the closest oxygen. Not to mention it's always next to oxygen generation, so I shouldn't have to worry about filtering that. Alright, there we go. So now I'm consuming some carbon dioxide. That'll be good. Gas is starting to take over my base. In a bad way. Look at it. It's everywhere. Chlorine. Truth be told, I might need more than one carbon skimmer. Too much carbon dioxide. Too much. It's everywhere. So what I'm trying to do over here with all these storage compactors is try to sort out each of the materials on their own. So raw metals, different minerals, and actually try to fill each one with their own material. For whatever reason, I've always liked that idea, so that's what I'm going to do. So this one here simply just has wolframite, and then iron ore, and then eventually you get the idea. I don't know why I want to do that, but it's just something I've been thinking about doing for a while, so now I'm actually doing it. We can see here that finally the gas is starting to come back down. We're leaving a little that crazy setup we had, behind. For whatever reason, this though keeps happening. The Atmos suit keeps getting left like right here instead of going back onto the dock. I don't know why, but there it is. So I can get rid of all of these refrigerators now. So I don't need those anymore. They were useful for a while though, so that was good. And once we convert this back down to oxygen, everything will be much better, much easier to breathe, give us a lot more space to bring in other duplicants, and do some other things. I have no idea why chlorine found its way all the way over here. It seems like a ridiculous spot for chlorine to settle, but chlorine has that way of just going where you don't want it to go. So there it is. I'm not completely against where it ended up. Just kind of wish it would go from here down to here, and then I could make use of it. But for whatever reason, that's there. I'll get rid of that eventually. But the madness right now is starting to settle down a little bit, so that's good. Oh my gosh, these things are running so much that they've begun to overheat and destroy themselves. Go figure. See, this doesn't work. I have to request a suit. Sometimes these duplicants will leave a suit there so that they can't go grab food. Which is, I know, this is kind of inefficient, but oh well, I guess it is what it is. I'll just disable this, forget it. It wouldn't be a big deal if they would always put the exosuits back where they belong, but they don't do that. Okay, so get this. Meep, I'm pretty sure this guy is never taking off his suit. He just loves it. He's just been cruising around in this exosuit for an entire cycle now. Or more, actually. I don't know what his thing is. I must have disabled the building that he was supposed to check in or check out of as he was, on the wrong side of it or something like that. I wonder if he's going to suffocate or if he'll just, get out of the suit. That's a good question. Let's speed him up. See what happens. Oh, there he goes. He finally took it off. That was crazy. He was in there forever. Alright, finally, I've got this carbon dioxide, at least down here, under control. I was hoping to be super organized by the end of this video, but I'm about 2.5 hours into recording this at an accelerated pace, and as you can tell, things are still not quite perfect. I was able to get a lot of that, chlorine or whatever out of the spaces. There's still some awkward spots over here. But it seems like the next technical thing that I can solve is building up a polluted water system. So I'll be able to turn that into fertilizer, make something useful out of that, feed some hatches or whatever, which is actually goes along with some of the experiment videos that I was looking into at one point that we were talking about here. So that all kind of comes together and under one topic. So I like that, and I'll be able to explore that here pretty soon. So that, I think we're in a much better place than we were last time because it was starting to get out of control. So this thing's starting to be a little bit more balanced, to be able to bring in some more duplicants and really get into the more technical stuff now without, losing the base in the process. At any rate, guys, that's all I have for you today. Thank you guys for watching. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed this little episode of Oxygen Not Included. And if I've earned your subscription, then thank you so much for that. Stay awesome, guys. Peace. Brothgar out.